Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for joining me here today for our Athena Tracker information webinar. My name is Frank, and I'm an account manager here at Athena Analytics. And this afternoon, I'm going to be bringing you through a live demonstration of the Athena Tracker software. Just a few pieces of housekeeping before we get started. The session is being recorded. So if at any point you need to step away and you'd like a copy of the recording to review in your own time, I'll be happy to provide that to you. And secondly, for our attendees, I just want to point out the Q&A functionality within Zoom also, which should be at the bottom of your screen. If you have any questions at any point during my demonstration or as I run through the software, please feel free to pop those into the Q&A section, and I will address those questions directly afterwards by email. So I will contact you by email directly afterwards and share the answers to those questions with you. Our webinar this afternoon will take in around 40 to 45 minutes. And like I said, it will be recorded. To begin with, I'm going to play for you a very short introduction video into the Athena Tracker itself. After that, I'll tell you a little bit about our company, Athena Analytics, and straight away then I'll jump into a live demonstration of the key functionality of the Athena Tracker. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen with you. I'm going to play that short video for you now. So just bear with me a second.
The Athena Tracker is an academic tracking tool which uses aptitude tests and exam results to create a visualization of a student's expectation in each subject. The main purpose of this is to highlight when a student falls below their own unique potential the moment this happens, rather than retrospectively looking back at this after time has passed. The Athena Tracker has been built completely based on feedback from school management and teachers in Irish secondary schools. So just to briefly explain how this works, we currently have exam results of over 140,000 students. When a new student is uploaded, we look through our 140,000 students and find students that have a similar profile, so similar aptitude test results. We then look at what these similar students went on to get in each subject, and this forms the baseline starting point expectation for each new student. These expectations will also update on an ongoing basis. For example, if a student, based on their aptitude test results, had a lower baseline in maths, but they consistently do well in maths, this expectation will increase over time to reflect that. This is to allow for any limitations of the aptitude tests. For the cohort of students that don't do as well as they can and don't reflect their potential on the day of these tests. We've designed the Athena Tracker to be intuitive and user-friendly. The sophisticated statistical model we have built is represented with easy-to-read, impactful colour coding of all exam results. Green indicates a student that is above their potential in a particular exam. Yellow indicates a student whose results are in line with their potential, and dark orange indicates where a student has scored below their own potential. The Athena Tracker acts as an add-on to your Management Information System, or MIS. The most common we work with are VSware, ePortal and Compass, but we can also adapt for other systems. In terms of getting set up in the software, there is a simple setup process that takes around an hour to complete. The MIS your school uses determines how automated this process is. After the initial setup, a nominated person in your school manages the transfer of results to the Athena Tracker in a process that takes around 10 minutes. There is no double entry of results for teachers. Once they have uploaded results to the MIS, they will appear on the Athena Tracker. There are two main access types on the Athena Tracker. Admin can see all information available for all students. Teachers can see all results of students that they teach in the subjects that they teach them, and all previous results in that subject. Teachers can also use the Athena Tracker as a secure GDPR-compliant gradebook. There are also additional access rights available for yearheads, subject coordinators, career guidance counsellors, and tutors. So there you have a quick overview of the Athena Tracker, a powerful and easy-to-use tool for monitoring student attainment, which helps schools track formative and summative assessment in a visual way. We are constantly updating the software.
So hopefully that's given you all a good kind of a soft introduction into the Athena Tracker software itself. I just noticed a few people have joined and just want to flag a few bits and pieces for the benefit of those that have just arrived. The session is being recorded. You haven't missed anything as of yet. So if you would like a copy of the recording to review fully in your own time, I'll be happy to share that with you afterwards. And also, I'll just point out the Q&A functionality within Zoom. So it should be at the bottom of your screen. If at any point during the demonstration you wish to have any questions answered, just pop them in there. I'll address the answers to those questions directly by email after the demonstration is completed, okay? So don't be afraid to pop any questions in there and I'll be happy to address those directly to yourself after the session is finished today. Before I jump into the demonstration of the software, just a little bit about our company. So we're Athena Analytics, and we're a Kerry-based software company. We were established in 2017 by our founder, Emily Brick. Originally, Emily began working with Irish secondary schools, providing bespoke reporting to them on their performance within the state examinations. But from numerous conversations with Irish secondary schools and leaders in Irish secondary schools, the need for a bespoke academic tracking tool was identified. And from that, the Athena Tracker was born. So it has been developed very much for Irish secondary schools, but very much in unison with Irish secondary schools. So yeah, that's just a little bit of background about our business. Without further ado, I'm going to jump into the live demonstration, going through some of the key functionality of the software. And I'll be looking at it from a principal's perspective. So like a member of management in the school, what kind of view they would have of the software. And lastly, I just want to note that I'll be using a dummy training school, so it won't be any personal data or anything like that that's going to be on the screen. It's my training school, so it's entirely anonymized. So just in case anyone has any concerns from that perspective. So again, I'll share my screen with you. I'll talk you through some of the key functionality. Like I said, if you have any questions at any point, feel free to pop them into the Q&A and I will address those directly to you afterwards. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you again, and I'll jump into the live demonstration. So just bear with me a tick. So on your screen, you should now see the home screen of the Athena Tracker. Okay, and this is where all of the raw data is stored. So this is the page that a user lands on when they're logging into the software. Okay, so this is where all of the raw data is stored for the school. So right now, I'm currently just looking at my sixth years and I'm looking at their performance within maths. So I can see a list of all the students currently enrolled in maths, and I can see all of their historic results within maths, right the way through from first year all the way through to sixth year. Now, probably the most eye-catching part of the home screen when you're first seeing it is the color coding of results, okay? And just to explain how we arrive at that color coding, okay? So when a student is typically entering the school environment, they're taking Cat 4 exam. So what we'll do for schools that sign up to the Athena Tracker is we'll get the Cat 4 results for all of the students in your school, and we'll plug them into our statistical model, which has around in excess of 250,000 Cat 4 results within it. And we look for students in our statistical model that have a similar Cat 4 profile to each and every student within your school, okay? And we look at what those similar students in our statistical model, how did they perform in each of their subjects throughout their tenure in their schools? And we'll use those similar students to establish an initial baseline expectation for each of your students in your school. Okay, so from that, we arrive at three predominant color codes for the results. A green result would signify a result for a student in a subject that is above their potential in that particular subject. A yellow would signify a result for a student in a subject that is in line with their potential in that particular subject. And a dark orange would signify a result for a student in a subject that is below their own unique potential in that particular subject. Okay, so 2 points, the color coding unique to each student, unique to each subject. Okay, and the Cat4 data is used to establish the initial baseline for each student. So it just is used to establish the initial baseline. Okay, it could be the case that you see two results that are the same mark as such. So two students here achieving a 70, okay, in their second year summer maths exam. The 70 for this student, based on their aptitude profile and similar students to them, would be adjudged to be in line with their potential in that subject. And the 70 for this student is adjudged to be below their potential in this particular subject. Okay, so that's a quick explanation of the color coding. As I mentioned, the Cat4 data is used to establish the initial baseline expectation for each student in each subject and the ongoing performance of the student in their house exams and the state exams, which they may sit, is constantly feeding into our statistical model to better inform their potential within the subject. Okay, so case in point, if I look at this student, Kiefer, I can see that based on their Cat4 results, we had an initial baseline expectation for Kiefer in maths of a grade of 71. Kiefer in the first year Christmas maths exam achieved an 89. Therefore, that's above the expected result for Kiefer in that exam, and the result is color-coded in green. But what you'll notice is that this yellow line representing the expected result for the student is not static, okay? It is taking into account the strong performance of the student in that particular subject to evolve the expected result for the next exam sitting. So Kiefer obviously did quite well in the first year Christmas exam in maths. The expected result for the next exam in summer has evolved slightly based on the strong performance of Kiefer in the previous exam. Okay, so like you see, this yellow line is evolving constantly based on the performance of the student within the subject. Okay. The blue line obviously is representing the actual performance that the student has achieved in that particular subject. Okay. So bear in mind, I'm just looking at the home screen. Okay. And this is where all of the raw data is stored. So right now, like I said, I'm just looking at my sixth years and I'm looking at their performance in maths. I can obviously change to look at their performance in a different subject. Okay. So if I wanted to change it to English, Irish, I can do that. If I wanted to only show senior cycle results, I can deselect my junior cycle results. It is possible to narrow down by a particular student or teacher, to look at it by base class, so on and so forth. Okay, and it is possible to download this information to Excel format for any offline analysis that a school may want to do, but the tracker should do the majority of the analysis that schools want to do from this side of things. It's also possible for me to surface the aptitude tests or the Cat4s that have been uploaded to the software for these students. I just tick this little tick box and I can surface that information to give me a clearer view of how that student performed in that initial aptitude test. So this is just the home screen, like I said, where the user or where a user would land when they initially log into the software. Okay. There is an individual page on the software for each and every student in the school. Okay, that can be accessed either by searching for the student in the top left-hand corner or just clicking on their name if you see them in the list in front of you. So I'm just going to bring you through to Kiefer's student dashboard page. Okay, so this is the page on the software that is entirely dedicated to this student, Kiefer Andrew. Okay, the left-hand panel here, this shows me the results that Kiefer achieved in all of their subjects in the most recent exam sitting. Okay. So the most recent exam sitting that has been uploaded onto the tracker for Kiefer is their 6th-year Christmas results. These are all of Kiefer's subjects that he sat in 6th-year Christmas. And all of the results, again, color coded to signify what did that result mean for Kiefer? Was it above, in line with, or below their potential in that particular subject? I also, as this is a senior cycle student, I get a calculation of their CAO points. And again, that's based on your top 6 and bonus points for honors maths. Very simple for me to look back to other exam sittings if I wanted to in a parent-teacher meeting environment or in a meeting with the student. So I can go back to see how that student performed in 5th-year Christmas, 5th-year summer, and all the information is there at the click of a button. So that's the left-hand panel here. The right-hand side then allows the user to look at it from an individual subject perspective. So I'm just looking at maths. I get a list of all of Kiefer's results within maths, again, color-coded to signify how to Kiefer perform in that particular exam sitting in that subject. And I also get a graphical representation, again, with the 2 distinct plot lines showing me the expected result plotted against the actual result. So it's very easy for me to identify patterns of performance for that student, and it's very visually impactful when looking at it with a student. I can obviously change to look at other subjects if I so wish. So if I wanted to look at biology, for example, it'll bring up this student's results in science in junior cycle and also their results in biology in senior cycle. But as you can see, the information is loading for you at the click of a button. Okay. Further on down on this page, there is a section which is dedicated to testing and assessment. So results that are achieved by that particular student in any aptitude test which has been administered for that student. So this student has only got Cat 4 results uploaded to the tracker as of now. Schools do use the tracker as a one-stop shop for storing all aptitude tests which are administered for a student. So they have a one-stop shop where they can log in and see all of the information regarding their attainment in academic results in subjects and their performance in the aptitude tests which have been administered to them. So if my school was doing NGRTs, PPADI, PTM, they can all be uploaded and stored in here. So I have a full profile of that student's overall achievement in aptitude and in the academic subjects. With regards to usage in our statistical model for establishing a student's potential, the only ones that we use at present are the Cat 4s done at first year. But like I said, schools do use this feature to have a one-stop shop where they can visit and have all of the results information for that student in one place. Further on down then is a section which is dedicated to notes. This is very much carte blanche for schools to use however they see fit. Some schools use it to denote when a student was met with. They might use it for sharing information about truancy or absence. They might use it for denoting when a target has been set with a student, or an aspirational target has been set with a student, should I say. Very much up to schools to use as they see fit. And any user of the software that has access to this student would have visibility on that note. So for example, if the Irish teacher was to log into the Athena Tracker and add a note for Kiefer here, the maths teacher would also have visibility on that note. So very much up to schools to use that feature or not if they so wish. A few other bits on this screen that I want to run through. It is possible to download this page as a PDF, okay? And you can decide what level of information you wish to include within that PDF, okay? It can be done for one student, so download a PDF for a single student, or if you wanted to download an individual PDF of this page for every single student in a particular year group, that can also be done. So very, very popular feature for schools around reporting periods and around parent-teacher meetings, and an extremely powerful feature. I'll just show you some of the examples of the levels that you can break down the information. So let's just say I wanted to get a PDF that shows me all of the results for this student in all of their subjects basically since they began in the school. I can download that. So I just set my filters accordingly and I can download, and it will give me an individualized PDF for Kiefer. If I did that for multiple students, I could do it for, let's just say, sixth year. For all subjects, give me all the results for all the students in sixth year across all of their subjects. Since they began, it would issue you with an individual PDF for every student within that particular year group. And that goes to you by email. So very, very powerful reporting feature within there, and loads of ways that you can decide the level of data which is within that particular PDF. Very, very popular feature. Secondly, we have this view, which is if I wanted to see all of the results that a student achieved in all of their subjects since they began in the school, I can look at this handy visual, okay? So by default, it just shows me the subjects that the student is currently enrolled in, okay? So Kiefer's in sixth year, there's obviously subjects in junior cycle he is no longer enrolled in, so they're not adjudicated to be relevant for this view by default. I can see all of the results that Kiefer achieved in every subject since they began in the school. And again, all of those results are color coded to signify what do those results basically mean for Kiefer, okay? And again, the color coding is unique to Kiefer. What does it mean for Kiefer? Is it above, in line with, or below his potential in that subject? So this might be useful from a guidance counselor's perspective, or assisting a student with making subject choices with regards to CAO point attainment, can be useful from that side of things. Another use case is for identifying maybe patterns in drop-off in performance if I wanted to see a side-by-side between how a student performed in Christmas alongside the results of how they performed in the summer exams. So that's using the all previous results feature. The next one I'm going to show you is for setting aspirational targets with students. So this is an extremely popular feature, and particularly with students in senior cycle and in those that are doing state exams, okay? So it is possible for the tracker to be used to set aspirational targets with students. I can do that for an individual student, or I could do it across cohorts of students. For example, all the students in sixth year maths, if I was teaching sixth year maths. I'll just show you an example with Kiefer here. So let's just say I'm meeting with Kiefer as their mentor or as their year head or as the guidance counselor at the beginning of the academic year. And I want to set the targets based on what Kiefer wants to achieve from a CAO points perspective. I'll just log into the tracker, go to Kiefer's student dashboard page, click on edit student targets, and I'll just input these targets very quickly, okay? And I'll just show you what way that they influence the tracker, or what way they appear on the tracker. Okay. So I've input my targets very, very quickly, okay? What you'll notice on the left-hand side of the screen here is we have a new column of data, which is representing those target grades that I've just input onto the software, okay? So I can see a side-by-side of the actual performance of Kiefer in that particular exam sitting, alongside the aspirational target grade that Kiefer has set in that particular subject. And again, I get a cumulative calculation of what that means from a CAO points perspective. So I can see visually 465 is what you actually achieved, alongside your aspirational target of 543, which is what you need to get into that particular college course or whatever it may be. Okay, so that's one way that they appear on the software. And secondly, you'll notice the graph for maths, for example, has updated. It has this magenta bar on it now, okay? And that is to represent the target grade that has been set by Kiefer in that particular subject. So purple bar here represents the target grade of a H4 that Kiefer has set within maths. So it's very easy for me to see and to have this conversation with a student to see this is where you're at, so the blue line. This is where you have potential to get to. This is where you have set your target for. So this is where you want to get to. Obviously, that magenta bar is added for any subject where a target grade has been established, so the aspirational target grade. Okay? So you can see that the graphs have all been updated. So important to note that target grades, they do not influence our statistical model for impacting the expected result or the potential grade of a student. So these are aspirational targets, what a student wishes to achieve. And so they do not influence our statistical model in any way, shape, or form. The only way that they appear on the software or influence the software is you get this calculation on the CAO points on the student dashboard page, and you get the magenta bar representing that target grade that the student has set on the graph for each subject where the target is set. Okay. Very, very, very popular feature, I would say, specifically and definitely with those that are doing state exams, and very, very heavy usage around 60 or so with regards to CAO points or UCAS or whatever it may be. Okay, so I just set targets for Kiefer. It is possible for, let's just say, the sixth year maths teacher to log in, get a list of all the students in their sixth year maths class if they wanted to establish targets with their students in that particular subject. So it is possible to do it at scale as well. Okay. So they're the majority of the features of the student dashboard page. So this is just a page dedicated to the student. And like I said, there is a page like this on the software for every single student in the school. The next screen I want to bring you to is, I suppose the main reason why the software was developed was to identify students that weren't reaching their potential in real time, and for schools to take corrective action or put procedures or policies in place to improve that student's performance or attainment. So let's just say I am the sixth year head and I wanted to look at my sixth year's Christmas results and get a gauge of the students that didn't reach their potential in the majority of their subjects or in a quantity of subjects in that particular exam sitting. So this is a very, very common use case in schools that we deal with after every single exam sitting. So the year head may log into the software and they'll go to this report. So as sixth year head, I would look at my sixth year group and I wanted to look at their results in the Christmas exam. And I want the tracker to tell me students that didn't reach their potential in the majority of their exam subjects that they sat at Christmas. Okay, so this is my academic hit list, I would guess, if academic tracking was part of my brief or academic attainment was part of my brief as a year head. These are the students that I need to speak to after the sixth year Christmas exam. So, for example, Kieran Eastwood here in the Christmas exam in sixth year, he sat 8 subjects, and 7 of the results that Kieran achieved in the Christmas exam were below his potential. So Kieran obviously didn't perform all that well in that particular exam sitting. And again, you've got your list of all the students that meet that criteria that were below their own potential in the majority of their subjects. If I take a look at the student dashboard page for Kiefer, okay, for Kieran, should I say? So I've just clicked on his name. This brings me through to his student dashboard page. These are all the results that Kieran achieved in sixth year Christmas. So predominantly dark orange across the board. So Kieran's results were not reaching his potential in that particular exam sitting. Okay. Obviously, you can see that target grades have been set with the student. So aspirational target grades have been set with the student. So you can see the actual results that Kieran has achieved alongside the aspirational CAO points that he has there. So there is quite a bit away as to what's happened here. I can also look at a side-by-side showing me the fifth year summer, obviously green across the board, very, very strong results achieved by Kieran in fifth year summer. And then something obviously has happened in the interim period here with regards to Kieran's performance. It'd be very difficult for me to discern this information if I didn't teach the student, and I obviously can't teach the student every single subject. And it's quite difficult for a year head to have scalable conversations with every single teacher about every single student within their remit in that particular year group. The tracker will allow you to surface those users or those students in real time that may not be reaching their potential, and to have conversations with them that may improve their performance, basically. Okay, so schools do use this to identify students that maybe achieving above their potential as well. So some schools use this for awards purposes, those to identify students that are working hard with regards to their own ability. Okay. So Wasim, for example, here sat 7 subjects in the 6th-year Christmas exam and was above potential in 7 of them. Okay. This information can be downloaded as well for any offline usage that a school wants to make use of. It's also possible for me if I was the year head and I wanted to denote that I had a conversation with Shakir here. I can tick the tick box for investigated. I can add any notes about the conversation or any procedures or methods that we've put in place to possibly improve attainment there, and I can save that. And any member of staff that has access to this report would have visibility of that note as well. So this is a very, very powerful feature of the software to identify students that aren't reaching their potential in real time, and or to identify students that are performing well as well. So this is the expectation summary report. Another feature I want to show you as well is if I wanted to look at, let's just say I'm a subject coordinator or a member of management, and I wanted to see how the 6th-year maths group performed, and I wanted to get a stack rank of all the students in 6th year, how do they perform in maths? So these results, or this is a list of all the students that did the 6th-year Christmas exam in maths in a stack rank. Okay, so from top result in higher level down to bottom result in higher level, and then commencing with top result in ordinary level down to bottom result in ordinary level. Okay, it is possible for me to add filters to this as well. If I only wanted to identify results, let's just say that were below potential in ordinary level. So students that may not be putting in the work in ordinary level that have potential to do better in that particular subject. If I was a subject coordinator or whatever it may be, even a subject teacher, and these are my students that fulfill that criteria. And again, you get your high level insights of students that meet that criteria. So 19 students were below potential in ordinary level in the 6th-year Christmas exam. So it's doing all that calculation and all that heavy lifting that subject coordinators or tutors or whoever it may be might need to do for staff meetings or whatever it is. And again, this can be downloaded for offline usage, or for any additional analysis that a school wants to do with it. Very simple then to change if I wanted to look at the 5th years. There's my stack rank again. Okay. So very, very simple insights that you can get from the exam summary page. Very, very popular feature with teachers that are using the Athena Tracker to get their stack ranks and identify students in the subject that may not be reaching their potential. Previously, I just wanted to jump back to our home screen. I did just look at this screen from a subject perspective. So I did look at it just looking at 6th-year maths, okay? It is possible for me to look at, for example, the 6th-year results in, let's just say, show me all of the results for all the students in 6th-year Christmas, okay? So these are all the students in 6th year, and these are all of their results that they achieved in the 6th-year Christmas exam, okay? And again, all of the results are color-coded to signify what did that result mean for that specific student? Was it above, in line with, or below their potential in that particular subject? Also, as it's a CAO or as it's a Leaving Cert group or a senior cycle group, I get a calculation of the CAO points for all the students. So that work is done. I also get some high-level insights here as to how the student performed in higher level subjects. What was their average? If they're sitting in the ordinary level subjects, what was their average in the ordinary level subjects? And the dash here to represent what their cumulative average was across all of the subjects that they sat. Numerous filters can be applied to this screen as well. If I only wanted to look at, let's just say, the 6B performance, if I was the tutor or class teacher for that group, these are all the students in 6th-year Christmas in 6B, and these are all of their results and their CAO points. This is a feature we rolled out this year based on feedback that we got from schools. Very, very popular, very, very popular feature since we've launched it. Like I said, numerous filters that you can apply here. And again, this can be downloaded for any offline usage. Let's just say if I wanted to identify let's just say the top CAO points. We will be implementing the ability to sort, so to click on the CAO points to sort by CAO points. But you could download it into Excel and do that sorting for now. But that feature is due imminently. I can obviously change to look at a different year group if I wanted to. For example, fifth year Christmas, show me all the results of the students in fifth year. These are all the results of the students in the fifth year Christmas exam. Okay. So they are the core features from an admin user's perspective. So like I said, I had been looking at the tracker as a member of management, will say, or the main admin user of the software. And as an admin or a member of management, I obviously have visibility across all students in all year groups right across the school. Okay. I do quickly want to show you what the tracker looks like from a teacher's perspective. Okay. As a teacher on the tracker, I would by default have visibility of the students that I teach in the subjects that I teach them and their previous results that those students have achieved in that particular subject. So I'm quickly just going to show you what the tracker looks like from a teacher's perspective. Okay, so hopefully you can see my screen here. And I'm looking at the tracker now from a teacher's view. Okay, so what you'll notice is that it does look slightly different. Okay, I'm just looking at my Irish sixth year group. Okay, so I can see all the students that I'm teaching Irish to in sixth year, and I can see all of their results that they achieved in Irish right the way through from first to today in sixth year. Okay. My drop down here will display the other classes and subjects which I am teaching. So Irish fifth year, Irish third year, Irish second year, so on and so forth. Okay. Again, as a teacher, I do get the color-coded results for the students. Okay. So I can understand what that result meant for that student in my subject. What you're probably noticing is appearing slightly differently versus the admin view is these hatched color-coded results, okay? And that is to signify an in-class test result which a teacher has uploaded to the tracker for these students in Irish. So it could have been me as the Irish teacher or a previous Irish teacher has uploaded an ASHTA result for these students. So they're hatched to signify that it's an in-class test result, firstly. And secondly, they're hatched to tell you that this result, it doesn't feed into our statistical model in the same way that the house exam results, your Christmas, summer, mock, state exams, in the same way that they do. So in-class test results do not influence our statistical model in any way, shape, or form. Okay? They can be uploaded, and teachers can use the tracker as a GDPR compliant and password protected gradebook. But the in-class test results do not influence our statistical model in any way, shape, or form. Okay. As a teacher, I obviously get the view of the graph as well to see how the student is performing in their actual results plotted alongside the expected result. Okay. So I get that visual as well. I can show you very quickly how to add an in-class test result. So if I was to do it for, let's just say my 6A or my 6B Irish class, we'll say, if I wanted to add an in-class test result for my students in 6B, I'll just quickly give the exam a name. So I'm going to say it's Frank on Trial maybe. And let's just say that my 6B group is a higher level group. I'll just set my level to higher level. And I'm going to input my scores for the students. And I'll click upload. Okay. So if I go back to my home screen here and I look at my 6B group, I should see my new in-class test that I've just added here. You'll notice that they're not yet color-coded, okay? So the color coding of in-class tests takes place every hour. Okay, so within an hour, if I was to come back in here, I would understand what those in-class test results meant for the students. But as you can see, very, very simple to input that data for the in-class test results onto the software. If it's an optional feature, very, very popular in some schools, and some schools don't use it at all. So that's an in-class test that I've uploaded. Okay. I'll just quickly show you what the student dashboard page looks like as a teacher. Okay. As I mentioned, as a teacher, I can see the results of the students that I teach in the subjects that I teach them and their past results in that particular subject. So for Ryan here, I can see their results in Irish as I teach them Irish. Okay. I can't see their results in any other subject because I don't teach them any other subject. Okay. But if I was Ryan's teacher in a parent-teacher meeting environment, this could be quite useful to pull up all of their results that they achieve within Irish to understand how their performance in with me is aligning with how they have performed previously. So I have all that information in one place. And again, with the color coding to signify what did that result mean for Ryan? Okay. Is Ryan reaching their potential or not? And again, I get my graph, which is showing me the performance, the expected result on the yellow line, and the blue, the actual result that Ryan has achieved in Irish. As a teacher, I have visibility on the aptitude tests which have been uploaded for Ryan as well. So if there were other aptitude tests, I would see them in here. These are just their Cat 4s. And like I said, the notes section, if another teacher had left a note on here about Ryan, I'd have visibility on that as well. As a subject teacher, I can set the target with Ryan. So if I want to say that Ryan is going to get an O2, I can add that very simply. Okay, I know he's actually in higher level. But you can see it's very, very simple for me to set that target. Okay. So that's quickly what I wanted to show you from the teacher's perspective. There's a few other features on the software I wanted to show you. Firstly, I want to point out this friendly fellow on the bottom right-hand corner. This is our live chat. It's not a robot. It's not AI or anything like that. There's no automation behind it at all. It's actually probably going to be me or another member of the account management team that will be replying to you. So if you had any queries as you're using the software and needed some help, we're very responsive and very like during business hours. Of course, we might not be there during the weekend, but any queries that you have, pop them into that and we'll get back to you as soon as we see them. Okay. Very, very popular feature. Also, there's handy FAQs, so downloadable guides and videos showing you how to complete the main functionality of the software as well. Okay. And that is the majority of what I want to show from the teacher's perspective. Okay. And that's the majority of what I want to show from the software side of things. I guess I'm gonna answer some of the frequently asked questions. So firstly, I guess what we mainly get asked is how much does it cost? Okay, so the Athena Tracker is an annual subscription. It's €850 base price plus €1.50 per student that is added to the software. And that's an annualized charge. For schools that are signing up in April, May, if they're interested in signing up, they would receive their first invoice in April, May 2024, but they would not get another invoice from us until September 2025. That's a limited time offer that we're running at the moment. So if it is of interest to you and you wanted to go ahead, you could get set up in advance of the summer, in advance of that busy period in August, September, when things are chaos in the school, and be ready to rock for the 24-25 academic year. What's included in your subscription, you would be allocated with a dedicated account manager that would go through the setup, so the retrieval of the historic results for the students that you're uploading to the software. It's important to note that there shouldn't be any double entry required here. Teachers shouldn't see this as additional work. We would work with the school to get the historic results for the students that you're adding, so their Christmas, summer, house exams going back since they entered the school. So we get them from your MIS in a setup call. So we do all of that for you. And then you have an account manager assigned to you for ongoing queries that you may have or training requirements, or whatever it may be. Okay. Also, there's training included in your subscription for the main users of the software. So that's usually your senior management team, year heads, guidance, and possibly some members of the SEN team. Another question we get asked regularly, can students log into the Athena Tracker? Yes, and this is a feature we launched in 23-24. It was free for schools to trial in this academic year. And very, very popular with, again, your exam years and your senior cycles students to log in and view their own progress and set their own targets. They obviously have a stripped back version of the software. They get to see their own data only, and they can't see anybody else's data, or they can't see their aptitude tests or anything like that. Just their own academic results from whatever your MIS is. Um, that was free for schools to trial in 23-24. It is an add-on feature for schools that are signing up for 24-25. So if you are interested in that, if you are thinking of signing up, we can let you know at that point. I think it's €450 add-on plus the VAT. So students can log in, very, very popular. We've received a lot of positive feedback about the student login feature, and a lot of positive feedback that the visuals and the visual aid for students, very, very clear and effective for them. Um, they're kind of some of the main key questions we get asked. Oh, yes, about what MISs do you work with, or is there any kind of automation around things? So we work with schools that use a multitude of different management information systems. So VSware, Compass, Tyro. We have some schools using other MIS systems as well. The three that I've mentioned are probably the most popular ones that we would be working with. And there is some automation that can be done for the updating of student information, and we can discuss that further down the line. So there isn't any enormous body of work that schools need to put into this. We should be able to do the majority of it with the setup. So that is the majority of what I want to cover. I see there are questions in the Q&A, and I will address those specifically to you by email afterwards. And like I said, I'll follow up. If anyone wants a copy of the recording, just reply to my email. I'll be happy to share the recording with you. If you want to share it with any other member of staff, I'll be happy to share that with you as well. But for now, thank you very much for your patience and time. And like I said, I'll follow up with you all individually after we're finished here. But for now, have a lovely afternoon and hope to hear from you soon. All the best and take care.